To the audience out there joining us for Fitness Forum Wednesday, we're talking about snackable workouts. 3 of the TC Fit team members on the call today. So we've got Matt Arviter, physical therapist, and Mia Peterson. She's an intern for us. And I'm Michelle, TC Fit personal trainer. So lots of expertise, a wide range of expertise and experience here today. This is an open forum, so we really invite you to ask your questions at any time, whether you want to unmute or add them in the chat box. That would be great. So as I mentioned, we're talking about snackable workouts. And what does that mean? It's basically a shorter workout. So we've seen this rise in resources and request for short duration workouts. The New York Times article specifically mentions the Johnson & Johnson 7-minute workout. That's not something necessarily new. I believe it came out clear back in 2013, but it's a do anywhere workout. It features 12 exercises that you do each for 30 seconds with 5 seconds of rest in between. It's fast-paced, high-intensity, 7 minutes, and it's been scientifically studied to actually show some muscle gain and some cardiovascular fitness. So that's back in 2013, it gained a lot of popularity because it was showing results in such a short duration of time. So I will make sure we get that link posted in the chat box in case you want to see the original Johnson & Johnson 7-minute workout. Mia, maybe you can throw that up there if you have it in front of you. And then the article also shares a new updated version of the Johnson & Johnson workout, which is actually a little bit lower intensity. It's a nice version for those of us who maybe don't feel comfortable or ready to be getting on the floor and doing full body push-ups or even that kind of jumping action. It gives us a little bit less intensity on the knees. Matt, I'm going to throw it over to you with the first question, which is, what do you think is feeding this trend, or what's our drive for shorter workouts?
I think the drive for shorter workouts are, number one, results, that people are looking for results quick, and we're a little bit time-starved right now. And that's our society right now. Fast-moving careers, fast-moving with kid schedules. I'm living that life right now, though I do have a driver at home now. That helps a ton. But so you look for these quick things that have results. And some of the scientific evidence behind this has been very supportive that you can increase your VO2 max and get some of these exercise benefits in as little as 20 minutes. My first foray into this HIIT training, or it's HICT, it's a high intensity circuit training as well, right? So there's all kinds of mnemonics for this, but what was a 7-minute workout? And I did it for a long time just because I like to experience things myself before I hand them off to patients of mine. And when I was on the working closely with the old global health at General Mills, I often gave this to a lot of my the scientists at JFB that traveled a ton, but also a lot of the executives at General Mills that were patients of mine who were traveling a lot as well, simply because with that 7-minute workout, you don't have any excuse. You don't need special equipment. You've got a chair in your, in your hotel room, and it's not going to take a ton of time. So I do think it's important to remember to get those exercise benefits. And you guys probably read the research more than me recently, is that you need to do a couple rounds. Nobody's saying that you can, get fit in 7 minutes, but doing at least 3 rounds, I think, is what's indicated most of the time. Can I keep rolling here, Michelle? I might take up a little more time. So I do think with these HIIT workouts and with this trend, though, if you look at, I'm sure you'll be bringing up Tabata as well, is I think that you have to push yourself. You have to go at a high effort. With that, what hits home to me as a physical therapist is middle-aged people with an expendable income that go to these HIIT classes and they beat themselves up, okay? It's important to remember that burning in a joint, burning in a tendon is not okay. Getting that muscle fatigue is okay. But to get the true benefit of these workouts, we have to be pretty intense with it. And Michelle, I think they say 80 to 90%. You're going all out. So I wouldn't want people. Sometimes it's not something for a beginner. It's you can work your way into this, but to get the true benefit that I think the research supports is you're going at least at 80, 90% effort. Is that correct?
Yeah, Matt, I'm glad you mentioned that. Sometimes we refer to RPE, rate of perceived exertion, and there are benefits in going for a casual walk, but when we talk about a short duration workout, in order to see that, heart health and blood sugar control, it needs to be at that high intensity. So on a scale of 1 to 10, if 1's laying on the couch and 5 is going for a walk, we need to be pushing towards that 8, 9 range at least, where it's hard to breathe or hard to talk while you're exercising, in order to see that benefit from, again, we're talking about short duration workouts.
And to get the benefit that the science supports, I wouldn't encourage a beginner who says, oh my gosh, but I'm going to do this. They should not push themselves that hard, or they'll end up in my clinic. And, I tell people, yeah, go ahead and do it. Keeps guys like me in business, right? Actually, I don't want people to get hurt. But my point is that I see a lot of injuries from people from these HIIT training courses. Number one, people that push themselves that aren't listening to their body, but then also when some of these, again, maybe this is more pre-COVID and maybe post-COVID too, with people doing more virtual things, that instructor's not there to correct your form. And in some classes, I won't name specific entities, but where they jam people in there, there's no way one instructor can watch form when you're working out at that 80 to 90%. So I will see injuries periodically in the clinic from these types of classes. So listen to your bodies. Nothing wrong with going hard as a beginner. Work your way into that. But it is important to be mindful of what you are doing and what you're feeling, and always to check in, maybe even with a trainer. We've got a crack staff at General Mills. Either Mia's leaving us, unfortunately, but Michelle, Kendall, and Kelsey, set up a quick meeting with them and show them your form to make sure you're doing things correctly.
Right, Matt, you kind of started to touch on this, but we have a question from the audience. Rebecca asks, what do you recommend for a quick warm up before doing these short workouts? And I'm going to list 2 things here. One, Matt, you mentioned listen to your body. So whether it's in the warm up or the actual high intensity, trust what your body is telling you from an intensity or how you're feeling standpoint. But as far as the warm up itself, very important. One of the easiest thing to do is move through the exact movement you're going to do for your high intensity workout, but either at a slower pace with a gradually increasing the range of motion, or gradually increasing the weight. So when we think about a body weight squat, I might start with only moving, a third of the way down, and then half of the way down, and then to my lowest point. If I'm going to be doing squats with weights, I'm going to start first with my body weight, and then in my second set, take that weight level up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it can be even simple as jumping jacks, but I agree with you, taking those movements and making them simpler through less range of motion, less intensity that you're going to prep to do. And just to let you know, there's a ton of apps out there, Michelle. I'm sure you guys are popping those up there, but free apps that will show you the 7-minute workout, et cetera.
One more thing with the warm up. I will share TC Fit, Kelsey and Kendall have been leading some great virtual workouts, and the warm-up is relatively quick on those because we only have a 25-minute class segment. They move through it quickly, but you can take any part of that 25-minute class and do it for a shorter duration. So if you're watching the replay of the video, maybe you want to watch the warm-up portion twice, or if you're spending a lot of your workday in front of the computer and you only have 4 minutes, do the first 4 minutes of one of those classes. You're not required to do the entire thing. Matt, I'm going to go ahead and, go ahead.
Michelle, I was going to make sure that I answered that first question because I kind of, as you know, can take off on tangents, which is Michelle has to deal with me on a daily basis, and I'm sure frustrates her at times. But did I answer that question appropriately? I want to make sure.
Yeah, I think we did. And Rebecca, feel free to jump in if you have more specific questions about warming up. I think we covered that. So
Okay, great.
It looks like Mia's video is turned off. Mia, if you're out there, I want you to jump in and talk a little bit about Tabata.
I can see Mia. She's just muted right now.
Okay, so Mia, go ahead and tell us a little bit about Tabata. Matt had mentioned that format.
Yeah, so Tabata, pretty much summed up, is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and you do 8 rounds of this. And kind of the focus or the reason that people do this is to burn fat. So obviously, you want to repeat as many rounds as you can for higher fat burn and higher intensity. And we do have 2 videos. We have an upper body and a lower body. And in those videos, I try to do some modifications, but obviously you want to do the more intense version and rounds if you can. And also a warming up thing with Tabata is maybe go through the first round and do the lower intensity modifications that I have. And then the next round, try doing the higher intensity. But yeah, I wasn't aware of what Tabata was before this internship, but I've been doing it and it's so easy. I find myself always being like, oh, I have like a lot of homework to do or something to do and not enough time. But again, with Tabata, like there's no excuse. So I'll just do them quick. And like I sweat every single time. I'm like a high sweater. I don't know if that's a word, but like I sweat a lot, but it's a really good workout. And I really enjoyed learning about it. So
Mia, can you comment on the types of, I guess, I don't know if you looked at the research that they did, but a lot of people are taking this Tabata principle, and Michelle, you can hop in here as well, and maybe doing a plank. And there's probably health benefit to that, but if you look at the literature, they were doing, biking and sprinting and more compound type exercises. Can you comment on that, about the type of exercises that are most beneficial with that type of format?
Yeah, I think the more compound movements get your heart rate up a little faster than just a kind of stagnant movement. But and I like that then it works more muscle groups too, and I don't feel as like inclined to be like, oh, I wish that this had more for my arms or more for my legs. Like it's kind of like I like the full body movements a lot better. Just get the most bang for your buck, kind of. And there's a bunch of free, now you kind of talked about it, but free Tabata timers that are super easy to use. So you can just download the apps.
Great. So what types of exercises have you been doing specifically, like burpees or what types of things?
Yeah, I like burpees, jumping lunges, jump squats, push-ups. I guess those are a lot kind of with your legs, but I think those get my heart rate up the fastest probably.
Right. And you can just make stuff up, right? I mean, you can do like you could do a push up to like a side plank and kind of go back and forth that way as well. So anyhow, no, I think it's a great format simply because I think it's a solid workout, but also you don't need any excuse other than you just need a flat piece of real estate and some space. You don't need special equipment or special weights. You can do it with that too. But point being, if you're traveling, or like you said, Mia, if you said, geez, I'm just not going to get that 10-mile run in, I got 20 minutes I can crank out right here in my my living room or whatever the case may be.
Exactly, yes.
And more muscles doesn't have to mean high impact or joint pain. So even when we think about jumping rope or jumping jacks, there are lower impact options for that movement. If you're participating in classes or doing fitness from home and finding that you're having some discomfort, don't hesitate to reach out to the TC Fit team, whether it's at the end of class after we stop the recording. The instructors tend to hang out in case there's any questions, or you can always schedule a free success session with us, which is going to be a one-on-one virtual video chat where we can actually talk through some of the form or share some of the options. I know I need to either act on something right in the moment or write it down. So when you go to participate in class, have that piece of paper and that pen nearby so you can write down your questions. And then we could always come back and follow up, because chances are that same movement is going to come up again in future classes. So you want to have your personal modifications ready to go. Let's see here. Mia, I know you were kind of new to taking some group fitness classes when you started your internship. Do you have any other guidance for the audience on getting started with group fitness or virtual group fitness classes?
Yeah, I would just say be open to trying something new. And even if it feels uncomfortable at first, like I was kind of skeptical about Pilates. Like I feel like I didn't have the best form right away, or know exactly like what movements to do right away. But that almost can be the most rewarding, because at the end I was like doing everything, and it ended up being my favorite class. So definitely just be open to trying something new. And I think it's a great learning experience, if anything.
And, you know, we are all probably a little bit partial to the TC Fit classes because we know those instructors, they're well experienced, well educated, and those classes are free for the audience. But I just saw a statistic that indicated there are well over 300,000 health apps available to us, and almost 200 apps, health-related apps being added each day, which is just a mind-blowing number. Matt, Mia, are there any non-TC Fit apps that you happen to use or enjoy?
Mia, if you could take, I have some ideas. If you've got ideas, you can go first.
I sometimes have used the Core Power online. They have like a couple free on-demand classes, and I did that kind of at the beginning of COVID when gyms weren't open or anything, because they had the free classes. But I've kind of stopped doing it now because I have free virtual classes here. But yeah, Instagram. Some people do Instagram lives that I watch because I'm on Instagram a lot. That's about it for virtual for me.
So I've been, you know, I have a Pilates app, or I'm sorry, a Peloton app that I bought probably about a year ago now. As I was alluding to earlier, if people were able to tune in, I was complaining to Michelle, I just rounded the corner to 50 this summer, and my left knee is bugging me a little bit. And as a physical therapist, I know what it is. So I don't like to run quite as much. So I've gotten on a spin bike, and I don't have a Peloton bike. I just use a regular spin bike for these classes, and I've really liked them a lot. And I did a few of the other ones. They have some like normal group fitness and more Tabata type stuff like we just talked about. And I do think they're very, very good. What they really have buttoned up is their execution and their studio and the mics and the music that they have. But I would tell you, when I take Kelsey and Kendall's classes, the quality of the exercise is as good as a Peloton, and I enjoy those classes just as much. And maybe it is because I see a familiar face too, but our staff does do a good job. And then also the other one that I've been doing, again, for these quick hits, as on YouTube, there's something called Tabata Songs, and there's a bunch of different more CrossFit type athletes that will do Tabata workouts, and you can just kind of recycle them and go through them. I've kind of memorized a couple of them now already that I just do on my own without the YouTube. But those are the two things that I've been doing periodically outside of the TC Fit. I don't have a ton of experience with virtual stuff outside of that, simply because I prefer, when I do these types of formats in classes, I prefer to be in person. I just like that. I'm a little old fashioned that way.
And I'm going to open that up to anyone in the audience. If you have a virtual service, a fitness service you're using that you've enjoyed, please share that in the chat box. Having more information is always great for all of us, and not every one option meets everyone else's needs. Thank you, Debbie and Julia, for your shout outs for TC Fit services. We love that. And Erica asked, can we talk a little bit more about the science behind HIIT and Tabata, and is it truly the intensity that makes it so effective so quickly? And I think the answer to that is yes. The benefits of exercise often come in asking our body and our muscles to work harder or longer than what they're used to. And so when we talk about these quick hits, it really is reaching those higher levels of the RPE. And that's going to be, a beginner's level of RPE might be huffing and puffing just by climbing one flight of stairs, where a marathon runner may have to add intensity. Maybe they have to do the stairs for a longer duration, or maybe there's a greater distance in those steps, asking those muscles to work more. Maybe they put the backpack on with the extra 5 pounds in it to get the heart rate up and feel the benefits. As far as the science behind it, I mean, they're seeing even with cycling in 4-second bouts. And this is just crazy to me how somebody can cycle for 4 seconds, but it's repetitive. So they cycle for 4 seconds, they take 30 seconds off. They cycle as hard as they can, like all out. You're running away from or cycling away from an angry bear, and then you take 30 seconds off and then you repeat it again. So Matt had kind of mentioned that sometimes these really extremely short bouts need to be repeated in order to reap the health benefits.
Right. I think Tabata says that you have to do 4 rounds of that 20-second on and 10-second off. And the original research that does support the VO2 max increases and the insulin resistance and things like that was they went maximal effort. And again, the original research wasn't on average Joes. These were, I believe, elite cyclists and speed skaters, I think, that were the subjects. So in short, we know I have a hard time telling my patients or any of our clients that they have to go maximal effort, because to that to me at times, if you're not ready for that, equals injury or worse. And but really to get those scientific benefits is something that I was alluding to before. You have to get after it. And I think that, so you need to be have a certain base and some know-how. Certainly wouldn't want a beginner to crank away at maximal effort. I think we're asking for trouble then, but I do think doing it, you're moving and you have health benefit if you are a beginner. So there's a benefit to that. But to get those same results like they talked about in the scientific literature, I do believe, you need to get up to that 90% of that maximal effort, which is hard. That's most of us. Even I've been exercising, I've done marathons. When I sprint all out, it feels awkward now. So, and I know I'm probably asking for a hamstring strain. So for me to go maximal effort, I can't remember the last time I went all out sprinting. 90% maybe, but not all out. I think as a middle-aged male, even who's, I don't think I'm at the top of my fitness game right now, but I have a good solid base, I would be asking for trouble. So yes, you have to push yourself in short to get that benefit.
And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. I heard you mention blood sugar, and there's a benefit in just taking a 10 or 15-minute walk after your meal and controlling that blood sugar. Or we know cholesterol and blood pressure can be better improved or controlled with daily movement throughout your day, not just one exercise burst here and there. So not a one-size-fits-all approach, but options so each of us can find what works best for us.
Yeah, so I definitely think some of these apps we're talking about or some of the videos, they've taken some liberties with the original work of Tabata, but I still think it holds value. And there's there's training benefit to doing these types of things. And for me, I think it is changing things up. Like Michelle said, there can be health benefit to walking around the lake at a moderate pace, just as much as there can be health benefit to doing going to a CrossFit class or something like that. So in short, in my opinion, go to yoga once in a while, but do strength training also. Yes, go for a long walk. Maybe you go for a longer run at a shorter at a lower pace. I think switching things up is the key, and not letting your body adjust to the same thing all the time. And the rest days are good when you're pushing yourself. The rest days are as important as those days that you push yourself really hard, be that in the weight room or doing, some of this Tabata type stuff like a plyo box jump and things like that. You need to give your body time to recover, especially those of us who are near or at middle age.
Thanks, Matt. We're coming up on the end of our 25 minutes, so feel free to throw one last question in the chat box. And we're going to do a spin around, Matt, Mia, Michelle, with one word snackable answers. Okay, so I'll no expansion, just snackable shorter workouts, trend or essential part of fitness. I'm going to say essential.
Essential.
Me?
I think Mia's muted.
Sorry, I was muted.
And workouts, morning, afternoon, or evening exercise. I'm going to say morning.
All the above.
I say morning.
Okay. Favorite strength exercise. I'm going to say squats.
Deadlifts.
I was gonna say squats too, but I guess I'll say bicep curls.
Okay.
She's expanding.
Last
And you were worried about me, Michelle.
Last one. Eat to work out or work out to eat. I'm going to say eat to work out.
Gosh, I work out to eat. I'll be frank with you. I'm sorry, but it's the wrong thing to say in this forum. But it's true.
I love it. Mia?
I think I eat to work out. I like to think that I do.
Okay. And I have to reverse. I had it confused. Work out to eat. Yes, eat the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's why I do it, so I can eat, right? Let's face it. I worked out today, right?
Thank you all for your audience participation. We love knowing that you're out there. Please feel free to reach out to the TC Fit team if you have any additional questions, and check out the champions page for upcoming classes and fitness forums.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you.